Talking favorite DFS and sports betting plays on tonight's 7-game NHL slate. Paul, favorite DFS play at center is who and why?
Riveting, huh? I like that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The Avs have scored 23 goals in their last 4 games, Emerson, while the Wings have been blitzed for 19 in the same stretch. The Detroiters limp into Colorado on the second of back-to-backs after getting pummeled last night by an undermanned St. Louis club. So this is a game where I think the Avs strike and pile on big time. As such, I'm tempted to go all the way to the top of the board to get Nate McKinnon in my lineup for $9,200. He's rolling with 13 points in his last 10 games. If that's too rich for you, I look next at Mark Scheifele, as he has snapped out of an early scoring funk this season, and he's got 10 points in the last 10 games as part of Winnipeg offense that's finally at full strength and firing on all cylinders, I might add. He's on the second of back-to-backs, though, but that won't be a big deal as his mates weren't taxed too much by a 3-0 win in Seattle. He costs only $6,600 tonight in Vancouver.
All right, AJ, what are you doing at center?
Sidney Crosby has played 61 games against the Caps over the course of his career, and he's racked up 28 goals and 52 assists in those games. He finally has his legs under him. Look, I get there might be some concerns about the Gensel injury. $7,100 is a high price to pay. But when guys are out, that's when Sid, the kid, thrives even more than usual. He loves playing against Alexander Ovechkin. These two just bring it out of each other, and both are capable of racking up huge points whenever they play against each other. I'll take Crosby tonight against the Caps.
Yeah, one of 4 centers that'll cost you north of $7,000. Jeff, talk to me.
Well, like I normally do, I try to target players who are just going through long, cold stretches and see if we can catch them on the night where they break out. Mika Zibanejad certainly fits that bill, hasn't scored in 10 games, but guess what? The tonic is on the slate tonight. He plays the Buffalo Sabres, and he's 6,500. I don't know how you don't get a piece of the New York Rangers top line here. I know it hasn't looked good on the score sheet, but this is way too cheap for a player who, I mean, he used to be one of the most prolific goal scorers in the league, and he probably will be again at some point. Zibanejad at 6,500, to me, you got to take a shot there. And if you want some real value, Ryan Johansson has actually played well this year. I mean, he's almost a point-per-game player again. He's a pretty talented dude, and he's got a very good matchup against New Jersey, too. So I just play the weaker teams here, or play the players who have the weaker teams on their schedule tonight, because there's a couple of them on the slate.
Okay, so at wing, who's your favorite DFS play, AJ?
Well, I'm going to ride with Sid's 2 wingers here because they'll get you some value as well. And that's Evan Rodriguez at 4,800. He's got 7 points in his last 8 games. And then the struggling Kasperi Kapanen, similar to what Jeff was saying, Kapanen described his game as terrible. He's the first one to call it out. He's only $3,100 here, but it's going to be Kapanen who gets to step in to that Jake Gensel spot on the top line. And I just think too good a value, too good of a situation to pass up for him. And I think, hit when the iron's hot, and he's going to be right there tonight.
Okay, who's going to be right there in your eyes, Paul?
Among the premier options on the wings tonight, I like Mikko Rantanen, who was priced at $800 cheaper than his center. I talked about him already. Rantanen's got 12 points in his last 10 games, and he gets that same great matchup against a club that some of my friends are calling the dead things again. Oddly, the third member of the top Colorado line is priced at only $6,900, so Gabriel Landeskog makes even more sense. He, too, has 12 points in his last 10 starts. And finally, Mark Stone costs a little cheaper than all of them at $5,500, and the Knights are back at full strength, and they're starting to look like the team that I thought they would be and dominating the Pacific Division. They're about to go on a roll, folks, and this guy has 11 points in 10 games and gets a favorable matchup against a Philadelphia club that is on a 10-game record losing streak for that franchise. The bleeding won't stop tonight for the Flyers in Sin City.
So, Jeff, at wing, you're going to spend a lot of money here?
No, I actually don't think you need to spend a lot of money at wing at all tonight. There's a ton of players between like 65 and 5,000 on DraftKings where, I mean, you're getting like really elite production just in terms of shots on goal. And some of these guys are just like, on hot streaks as well. I'll start with Nikolai Ehlers at 6,100. I'm not really scared of the Vancouver Canucks here, despite them winning 2 games in a row. Congrats. Ehlers is averaging 4.6 shots on goal over his last 10 games. He's got 5 goals in that stretch, too. But, I mean, I really like the Jets. I mean, their offense is really clicking right now. I know it's mainly been the top line, but Eller's at 6,100 is just a good bargain, and you're getting a good bargain with Mark Stone too at 5,500. I mean, again, like we've got the Flyers on the slate. There's so many weak teams to target here where you can just look for these juicy matchups, guys who are undervalued. Stone averaging over a point per game. He's just a good player. Obviously gives you really good exposure to that Vegas top six. So those are the two guys I would target in that range. And again, not a night I feel like I have to pay up on the wing.
Jeff, which blue line potato chip are you feeling this evening?
Yeah, so I mean, exact opposite sentiment. I mean, we've got three. Like, I feel like you need to get a piece of one of these top defensemen because you've got, you've got Fox, you've got Kale Makar, and then you've got Roman Josi, all kind of just with fantastic matchups. I like just going up to Josi because I think he's going to be the least owned of those three names I threw out. He's the most expensive, but I mean, player averaging over 15 DraftKings points over his last 10 games. The New Jersey Devils just allow goals at an obscene rate right now. Their goaltending's not good. Their penalty kill, is not good. And the Predators actually turned into a decent little offensive team here of late. I like Josi tonight because, again, for big fields, I think he's going to be the lesser owned of those three names I threw out.
All right, AJ, do you agree? You need to get a piece of one of the top D-men this evening.
I do agree, and actually, I think get two of them. Save up at other spots. Reserve your money. You know, Jeff gave you some value options. We'll give you a few more in a bit here. But go and get both. I've got Makar and Fox in my lineup. You can make it work without having to, stretch with some really down guy who's out of position. Rangers are playing the Sabres. The Avs get the Red Wings. If you are only going to go one, I guess I trend towards Fox because he's $300 cheaper. But really, maybe consider both. That's what I'm doing tonight.
All right, Paul, how about you, dude?
I'm with these guys, and they're thinking with the cheap wingers, so you can pay up and get a guy. Of the top guys, though, I like Kale Makar. He's putting up video game numbers, Emerson, with 9 goals and 6 helpers in his last 10 games. Some of the best forwards in the league never do that. Incredibly, he's the 4th most expensive among those top guys at $7,400. And again, we're hammering that great matchup against the Red Wings, says this broken record. One of the 4 among the top guys is Aaron Ekblad, but I'm looking at his teammate Mackenzie Weegar, priced at only $5,800, despite his 9 points, 23 shots on goal, and 24 blocked shots. That adds up to an average of 13.1 DraftKings points in each of his last 10 games. That's a nice value for that kind of production.
Wow. Well, speaking of value here, where is the best value on tonight's slate, Paul?
If you want to go for a cheap but solid play, I recommend buying into Ryan Strome for $4,800. He's got 10 points his last 10 games. Emerson, he comes into action against a woeful Sabres club, but I heard will be canvassing fans as they arrive at tonight's game to see who would like to start in goal for them this evening because they hadn't got many other healthy options back there at the moment. In the low rent district, I also turned to the Caps' Dmitry Orlov for $4,100. He has a tough rivalry matchup against the AJ's favorite club, but he's enjoying his career best scoring pace that would see him top 40 points for the first time in his 10-game career.
AJ, value, please.
Well, obviously, I mentioned Kasperi Kapanen. 3,100 is a huge value for a top-line guy. But I also really like Carter Verhaeghe tonight at 4,500. The Panthers get the Coyotes, so again, targeting a good matchup. And Verhaeghe looks like he's going to be playing with both Alexander Barkov and Anthony Duclair for what I think is the first time this season that they've had that line all together. So between the matchup and the line mates, he should basically trip into a point or two tonight and really could help you build that out.
Jeff, save some money for us, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring up the same guy I brought up, and I think the last time we did a value segment, that's Valerie Nichushkin. I mean, 4,000, again, just playing in all situations for the Colorado Avalanche. Terrific matchup against Detroit. And again, I don't think that you need to go from this game. I think you can go to the other side of this game for value as well. Robbie Fabry, playing big minutes on the top 6 as well. I mean, look, Colorado's scoring a lot of goals, but man, they have had some stinkers as well. I mean, let's not forget they lost to the Sens, allowing 6 goals to them a while ago. So I think Detroit's cheap players definitely in play tonight. Fabry well under 4K. He's good value.
All right, we'll get out of here with this, guys. Best DK Sportsbook play in the NHL is what, AJ?
I like 2 favorites here. It's the Rangers to cover the puck line against the Sabres. You get plus 135 value. Some of those other high-targeted teams are actually not returning real good value on the puck line. And then, of course, I'm going to take the Penguins every time they're going to give you value on the money line. They're plus 125 on the DK Sportsbook. Crosby's just that good. You got to take him when you can get value on Pittsburgh.
Paul, hook me up.
I love the alternate goal total, so I'm going to give it 2 there tonight, Emerson. The second best team in the league pays a visit to the worst club. I see Alexander Barkov is deemed healthy enough to rejoin that Panthers' potent attack, and that's even more trouble when the Coyotes might have anticipated. I think the Cats will go to the 6 over-under line all by themselves, so take the over here on the alternate to go over 7.5 for a plus 250 payout. It should be the same script also as the Wings pay a visit to Colorado. As you know from my earlier answers, this game is not projected to be viewed as a classic from the rivalry days of the blood feud that existed between these two teams some 20 years ago. I don't see how the potent offense of the Avs doesn't get to the normal line all by themselves against the overmatched Wings. So I'm going to take a look at the alternate prop of over 7.5 total for a winning bet at plus 220.
All right, Jeff, bring us home here. Favorite DK Sportsbook play?
Yeah, I'm only giving you one because I really like it. It's the Winnipeg Jets as underdogs against the Vancouver Canucks. Are we serious here? Jets offense has started clicking, but they're still getting no respect and getting at plus 115 on the money line. I know Eric Comrie is slated to start here. Eric Comrie's not that bad, though. I just don't really think it matters. I mean, the Vancouver Canucks, still a bad penalty kill, still a team that the Jets' top line could easily just go off for 3 or 4 goals on their own tonight. I think it's just an overreaction to the Canucks changing coaches, winning a couple games. This is still a big divide in terms of quality of teams here. Take the Jets as underdogs for sure tonight.